kind of affection with trust and closeness, since it requires openness from both partners and signals that the relationship has reached a deeper level of comfort. Instead of viewing it as something purely physical, a lot of men experience it as an act of giving, almost like a gesture that says, I respect you, I'm attracted to you, and I want to connect with you in a meaningful way. Another important aspect is that men often feel proud when they can make their partner feel valued and confident in the relationship, and moments of intimacy can reinforce that sense of connection. When a woman understands that this behavior can come from a place of appreciation and emotional intention, it can change the way she interprets her partner's actions. Rather than confusion or misunderstanding, it becomes easier to see the underlying message of care, attention, and desire to strengthen the relationship bond. In healthy relationships, these gestures are usually less about performance and more about closeness, mutual respect, and the desire to make the other person feel special and emotionally secure within the partnership. Another reason many men feel drawn to give this kind of intimate affection is because it allows them to prioritize their partner's pleasure and comfort, and for many men, that feeling can be surprisingly meaningful on an emotional level. In relationships, people often talk about love languages, and one of the strongest ways some men express care is through actions that show they are paying attention to what makes their partner feel good, relaxed, and valued. When a man focuses on his partner's experience rather than his own, it can create a sense of purpose during intimacy, almost like he is saying through his behavior that her happiness matters just as much, if not more, in that moment. Many women assume men are always focused on their own satisfaction, but in healthy relationships, this is not always true. And a lot of men actually feel proud and emotionally connected when they know they are bringing comfort, enjoyment, or confidence to their partner. It can also be tied to a deeper psychological response where giving pleasure strengthens a man's sense of closeness and attachment because he can see the direct impact of his attention and care. That feedback, even if it's simply a partner feeling relaxed, trusting, or emotionally open, can make the moment feel more meaningful than something purely physical. Another important part is that when a man chooses to focus on his partner's comfort, it often reflects respect and admiration, since he is showing that he values her body, her feelings, and the shared experience between them. Over time, this type of attentiveness can strengthen emotional intimacy because both partners start to feel seen and appreciated rather than rushed or misunderstood. Many long-term relationships grow stronger when partners learn to give to each other in ways that create mutual satisfaction. And this is one of the ways some men naturally express that mindset. When women understand this perspective, it can change the way they interpret the moment, shifting it from confusion or curiosity into recognizing that for many men, prioritizing their partner's pleasure is actually a powerful expression of connection, affection, and attentiveness within the relationship dynamic. Another important reason behind this behavior is the role of trust and vulnerability in a relationship. For many men, moments of deep intimacy are not only physical, but also symbolic of emotional openness between two people. When a man feels safe, accepted, and genuinely connected to his partner, he often becomes more comfortable expressing affection in ways that require closeness and mutual trust. This kind of interaction can represent a level of comfort where both partners feel they can be themselves without fear of judgment or rejection. In many relationships, trust is built slowly over time, And physical affection becomes one of the ways couples confirm that their bond is strong and secure. For a man, showing this level of attention can feel like a sign that the relationship has moved beyond surface level attraction and into something more meaningful and personal. It can also be connected to the idea of vulnerability because intimacy naturally requires both people to lower emotional barriers and allow themselves to be fully present with one another. Many men may not always express vulnerability through words, but their actions during intimate moments can reveal a lot about how comfortable and emotionally invested they are. When a partner accepts that closeness without discomfort or misunderstanding, it reinforces the sense of safety between them, which strengthens the relationship overall. Another factor is that feeling trusted by a partner can be deeply meaningful to a man, since it signals that she believes in his care, respect, and intentions. That sense of trust can motivate him to continue showing affection in ways that build closeness rather than distance. Over time, these experiences can create a stronger emotional foundation where both partners feel valued and understood. When women recognize that this behavior can be linked to trust and vulnerability rather than just physical interest, it often changes how they interpret their partner's actions. Instead of seeing it as something confusing or purely instinctive, it becomes easier to understand that many men experience these moments as a way to deepen emotional connection and reinforce the bond they share within the relationship. Another reason this behavior can appear in relationships is connected to psychological attraction and the powerful human need to feel desired and valued by a partner. Attraction is not only about looks or physical chemistry, it is strongly influenced by how people make each other feel emotionally. When a man shows intense attention and affection toward his partner, especially in intimate moments, it can be his way of expressing that he finds her deeply attractive and important to him. Many men are wired to show admiration through actions rather than long conversations about feelings. So the effort they put into pleasing their partner can be their way of communicating desire in a very direct and sincere form. For some men, making their partner feel wanted actually increases their own emotional connection, because attraction often grows stronger when both partners feel appreciated and confident in the relationship. When a woman senses that her partner genuinely values her, it can create a cycle of positive energy between them, where closeness, trust, and affection naturally increase. On a psychological level, many men also experience satisfaction when they see their partner feeling confident, comfortable, and emotionally engaged, because it reassures them that the relationship is healthy and mutual. This is important because in strong relationships, attraction is not just something that happens at the beginning. It continues to grow when partners actively show appreciation for each other. Another layer to this is that attention during intimate moments can make a woman feel special and prioritized, which strengthens emotional bonding over time. When a man expresses desire in this focused way, he may feel that he is reinforcing the message that his partner is unique to him, not just another person in his life, but someone he genuinely values. Over time, these small but meaningful expressions of desire can shape how both partners perceive the relationship, making it feel more secure, passionate, and emotionally fulfilling without needing constant words to explain what they feel inside. Another factor that shapes how this behavior is understood is the influence of cultural myths and the general silence that often surrounds conversations about intimacy. In many societies, people grow up with very little honest discussion about what partners actually feel or why certain forms of affection exist in relationships, which creates confusion and assumptions on both sides. Women may sometimes hear mixed messages from media, friends, or social norms that portray male desire as simple or purely physical, while men may grow up hearing that they should not talk openly about emotional aspects of intimacy. Because of this gap in understanding, something that might be intended as affection, admiration, or attentiveness can easily be misunderstood or even questioned. Cultural stories about masculinity also play a role, since many men are taught to express love through actions rather than vulnerability in words, and that can lead to moments where their intentions are clearer in behavior than in explanation. At the same time, myths around intimacy sometimes exaggerate or oversimplify what men or women want, which makes it harder for couples to see each other's real motivations. When people rely on assumptions instead of communication, they may interpret a partner's actions through stereotypes rather than through the reality of the relationship they are actually in. Another important point is that different cultures and personal backgrounds influence how people view closeness, respect, and affection. So what seems confusing to one person might feel natural or meaningful to another. This is why understanding the role of cultural silence is so important, because it reminds couples that many misunderstandings do not come from bad intentions, but from lack of open conversation. When partners begin to talk honestly about what they feel, what makes them comfortable, and what certain gestures mean to them emotionally, those myths slowly lose their power. Instead of guessing or assuming, both people start to see the relationship more clearly and with greater empathy. Over time, this awareness can transform confusion into understanding, helping both partners realize that intimacy is not just shaped by instinct, but also by the beliefs, expectations, and stories that people carry with them from the world around them. Another important reason behind this behavior is that many men experience a strong sense of emotional satisfaction when they are able to give rather than only receive affection in a relationship. In healthy partnerships, intimacy is not just about personal desire. It often becomes a way of showing generosity, care, and attentiveness toward the other person. For some men, focusing on their partner's experience creates a feeling of purpose during moments of closeness, because it shifts the mindset from simply enjoying the moment to actively contributing to their partner's happiness and comfort. This can feel meaningful because relationships naturally grow stronger when both people feel that love and attention are flowing in both directions. When a man sees that his partner feels appreciated or emotionally secure, it can create a deep sense of connection inside him, almost like a confirmation that the relationship is strong and mutual. Human psychology often responds positively to giving, and many people, including men, feel more attached to someone when they invest effort and care into making that person feel valued. This dynamic can also help build balance in a relationship, because instead of intimacy being one-sided, it becomes something shared where both partners play an active role in each other's well-being. Over time, these moments of giving can strengthen emotional bonds because they reinforce trust, understanding, and mutual respect. Another layer to this is that many men feel a sense of pride in knowing that they are attentive to their partner's needs, since it reflects their ability to be supportive and considerate in the relationship. This pride is not about ego in a negative way. Rather, It often comes from the feeling that they are doing something meaningful for someone they care about deeply. When women understand that some men connect intimacy with the joy of giving attention and affection, it becomes easier to see the emotional intention behind the action. Instead of viewing it purely through a physical lens, it can be recognized as a moment where care, connection, and generosity come together to strengthen the partnership and deepen the emotional closeness between both people. Another reason this behavior can appear more strongly in some relationships is connected to confidence and emotional security between partners. When a relationship reaches a point where both people feel comfortable with each other, many barriers that usually exist in the early stages begin to fade. In the beginning of a relationship, people are often cautious because they are still learning about boundaries, personality differences, and levels of trust. As time passes,